Here is an issue that strikes fear into the heart of website owners, entrepreneurs, business owners, and that is the red screen of fear. So as you can see, it says deceptive site ahead. And this is Google having a notice on there to let people know that come to this website that it has been compromised, it's probably got malware on it, it's probably been hacked, and it's going to do all sorts of things that are not in the best interest of the visitors. So if this is your site, as it was two other people's sites this week that we have resolved, then it means you have a problem. Someone's gained access to your site somehow, and they're using it for their own purposes. So you might think, well, why would anyone want to hack my little website? It's not necessarily that they are trying to get you, but what they're trying to get to is your traffic. So that when people get to your website, they'll do things like redirect them to porn sites, gambling sites. They may have created a landing page, which looks like a bank login page. So they're trying to capture and steal people's login details. And sometimes these hackers are very clever. You won't even know that your site has been hacked because you'll go to the login page, your login is normal, go to the front of your website, everything all looks normal to you, but any visitor that goes to your website automatically gets siphoned off to another website. And what they do is they log your IP address, so every time you go to it, then you get to see the normal site, and every time anyone else gets to it, then they go to the hacker's website or redirected, or they get presented with information that the hacker wants them to see. So if you do see this, then you need to get it resolved immediately. So come and see us, or talk to me, or a web developer. You'll need a web developer that really knows what to do with sites like this. Not all web developers really have the skills to fix a hacked website. My team and I do. But whatever you do, you need to get it fixed. The reason for that is, first of all, if visitors get here, as you can see, who is going to navigate any further than this, and how will they know what to do? And generally, the details of it aren't hidden, so it will look like this here with a little button that says details. If you click on that, it tells you what the activity is. So it says it's detected phishing. If you click on that, it'll give you a description of what that is. And then the very last link here is visit this unsafe site. If you click on that link, it will take you to the website. You'll be able to view it as normal, although the screen might pop up a number of times while you're there. So you're really only going to click on that if you're going to go and resolve and click the site. Any visitor coming to the website, probably not going to click on this unsafe site. They're going to be scared off. So what does it mean if you are generating leads, or you're making sales or getting inquiries? It is going to put everyone off, and you're not going to get any of those. If you leave it running any longer, then it's likely that your site will be blacklisted. The blacklist on Google is probably your worst one, because that means that even in Google search results, it will tell people not to visit this website because it is potentially unsafe. So you do need to get it resolved. To prevent these sort of things happening, there's some really simple steps to prevent it. And the simple steps are, it's really managing good security practice. So don't use easy to guess passwords. Use a password manager, something like LastPass, where you can have a different password for every website that you own or log into, and have hard to remember passwords. Use LastPass. That does all the remembering for you, and it really is as I click into your website once you're using that there. And it means that one of the ways that hackers do get into websites is people use the same passwords for pretty much everything. So if they get your password on a compromised site, like let's say Microsoft, they had an intrusion. Optus, they had an intrusion, stole people's data. If they happen to steal your username or your email address and password, and you've used it on a whole lot of other sites, you'll get hackers out there that are going to try banking sites and all sorts of things to gain access. So it's very dangerous practice to use the same password for everything. I know it's easy, it's simple, but if you use something like lastpass.com, then you don't have to remember any passwords. That will remember it for you. All you have to do is keep them secure in that secure place. Other things you can do with your website is plugins, theme, and WordPress. they issue updates on a fairly regular basis. Pretty much every day on your website, you'll see that there is a plugin or a theme or WordPress needs to be updated. What they're doing is fixing any potential security holes, as well as making functionality better. But whenever you see those updates, just click the button auto and update it to make sure that your site is has got the latest software in it and it's not vulnerable. The other thing you can do is, if it's a bit of a pain to go in and check it every day, there is a setting or an option in WordPress where you can have the plugins and themes and WordPress automatically update. So whenever updates are released, the site will automatically update itself. Recommend you turn that on, because that way, you've always got the site up to date. And if there are vulnerabilities, then you're preventing that. Another thing to do too is with your users, you can do things like have two-factor authentication in there or biometric authentication. You can require users to change their passwords on a regular basis, or not allow people to log in if their password has been logged in a compromised password hack, or in a site there that says that these details have been released to hackers. So there's some of those sorts of things you can do to your website, which is all good practice to make sure that the site is safe and you don't get to see this red screen of death. Sometimes it's not enough, and you will be presented with this, or there will be malware in your site that you need to resolve. So if you want to check your site, if you're not seeing this red screen of death, or you really want to double check that you've been hacked, grab your URL. So copy your URL from the your URL bar and go to this website called sitecheck.securi.net and paste your URL into the bar under free malware and security checker. Click submit, and what this security checker will do is it will scan your site looking for any potential issues. So in this case here, we have a green bar, low security risk. That there is good. Anything from minimal to low is perfect. And we have green ticks for website malware and security and website blacklist status. So no one's blacklisted the website. If you ever see if there's even just one red tick in either of these areas, you've got a problem, it needs to be resolved. If you see this green bar is actually orange, which is what it'll be at medium, or red, which is what would be critical. If you are in that medium to critical band there, then the website needs to be resolved. If you're not sure whether you've got an accurate reading on the, whether your site's been hacked or not, scroll down to the very bottom and you can see that this site was scanned 34 minutes ago. What it means is that these results here were done 34 minutes ago. Security saved it in its cache, and it's just giving me a cache version. It hasn't actually scanned it this time around. It's just serving me the results that it had 34 minutes ago. So if you'd like to check it, an up-to-date check, click the force rescan, and it will actually do a full rescan of your site. It'll give you results that are accurate and totally up to date. Scroll to the bottom, it should tell you that it's, site was just scanned. So there you go, this site is cleaned, and in fact it is clean because we have already fixed this issue and this problem that this particular website had. The other place to go is another site called sitelookup.mcafee.com. You'll be presented with a screen. Click select, and then you're going to look for McAfee Site Advisor / Web Control Enterprise, and select that. Paste your URL into the bar beneath the drop down, and then click check URL. So this will run a check, and it will give you a categorization for the website. So this categorization, this is what you want to be looking at, and this is what it will tell you. This is the area where you'll get an indication as to whether there's a problem with your website. If it says something like PUP, potentially unwanted program, or anything to do with malware, adware, that type of thing, then you've got a problem. You need to get our team or a web developer to go and resolve it and fix it up. Once it's been fixed, then you come and add a comment here, like site has been cleaned. Please review and remove from blacklist. And you can run through too and add a category that you think your website is. Look, they may or may not categorize it as this, but you can give them some sort of indication. Submit the URL for review, and that will send it through to McAfee to go and check the site. And if it's clean, it will then give it a thumbs up and a clean status. Sometimes, or generally, you'll be presented with a screen there that'll say track request status, or it might just pop up anyway. And you can log into it if you've got a username and password. If you don't, then it will ask for an email address, and that email address is where they'll send you an email once they have checked the site and made sure that it is clean. Or if it's not clean, they'll tell you that it's not clean and it's still got an issue to resolve. So those two sites, McAfee and Securi, you should be checking those at least once a month, just as part of your standard practice and procedure to make sure the site is clean and healthy. And if there is an issue, you're able to jump onto it fairly immediately. So there are some other things that we do when we're looking at sites and fixing them up. Obviously, we're updating all of the plugins, themes, website core, and looking at users. We're removing any users that are no longer or should no longer have access. See this all the time, where a previous web developer or or support person has still got full administrative access to the website. So if anyone doesn't need administrative access, you should remove them or at least downgrade them to subscriber. And it's not that these people are necessarily going to be doing anything nefarious. It might be that their email address and password has been logged in a breach of another website, like Microsoft or Optus or Telstra or some other big player out there. And a hacker may have those details or buy those details off the dark web, and they'll have a script that they'll run through, and they'll try to log into all sorts of places. So they might be able to log into your website, see that they've gained admin access, and then all of a sudden they've got a gateway in to be able to inject their own software and start to tinker around and play with the site and take control of it. So that's really the reason why you're removing those users. Also, the other thing to do is ensure that if there are any logs of compromised passwords, or if they appear on any logs, then not to allow people to use those passwords. So there are checks that you can set up. So there are plugins you can download that will ensure that people can't use compromised passwords. They've got to use unique passwords or ones that haven't appeared on breach lists. So those are things that we do. We also do things like log everyone out of a website. We've had, last week had on both of the sites, actually, the hacker was in the site while we were fixing it. They came into the site while we were fixing it and started adding scripts and new blog posts and sort of malicious links. So fortunately, saw that, able to lock them out and change the passwords and ensure that they didn't gain access again. Never seen that before, but that happened twice last week. So they were onto it. They must have known that we're fixing it. They had some sort of notification that we were fixing the site, and they're back in there trying to reinfect it again. And then what we do is we will go through to the site and access it by FTP, which is File Transfer Protocol. And by FTP, what you will see is, this is the view of FTP. It's on the right-hand side. These are the files of the website. So this is all the code that the website's built up with. And if we have a look at some of these files, then you'll see there's some interesting code in there. And if you're not familiar with it, then you won't know what to do with it. So what we look for here is what code is in here that doesn't belong. And because, we've seen this a number of times, we know what should be here and what shouldn't be here. But if you've never been in this area, you won't know what to remove or whether anything is suspicious. And generally what we will do as a matter of course is that we will delete the WordPress core files installation. So WP admin, WP includes, pretty much all of the files down here except for the WP content directory, htaccess, although sometimes we'll remove that, and in this case, the user.ini and the WP config. We'll keep that as well, delete everything else, and reinstall WordPress from wordpress.org. We will upload a fresh copy so we know that there's no malicious files in there. Then all we're needing to deal with is we'll have a look at the HT access file and those ones that we kept, but also all of these files inside WP content. We're looking for suspicious activity and things that we need to delete. Often they can be found in the plugin directory, in the theme files, and sometimes they add their own directories in here, and sometimes they add their own files into here as well too. So because we know what should be here, we know what we're looking for, and I can remove those and clean those up. Obviously, the best way to clean up a site is not to have to clean it up, is to go back to a clean backup that you've got. But often cases we find that people haven't taken backups, or the backups also are infected with malware because they haven't kept sufficient backups or haven't checked it on a regular basis. So don't rely on your web host backups because sometimes they keep them, sometimes they don't, sometimes they don't keep them long enough. But generally we'll retain backups for up to 6 months, which is more than enough time to recover if there is a hack or if there is an issue. But sometimes we can't go back to that, or if there isn't a backup, we've actually got to go through and clean up these theme files. So backups are obviously the easiest thing, but if we have to do a cleanup, that takes a whole lot more time, and it becomes more expensive for you as well too. So if you are on one of our security and monitoring packages, then we will automatically clean up the site and we will fix it up for you and ensure that, that there are no sort of issues going forward. And if you are on our packages, then there's no extra charge for that. That's all part of what we do when we're looking after your website. If you're not on one of our packages, then we are happy to either have a look at your website, scan it, and give you some recommendations about any particular issues that might be there, and recommendations on what needs to be done to fix it, and fix it for you or resolve these for you if you like. If you have been hacked, then we do have a team of competent people here that are able to resolve those issues in a timely manner to ensure that you're not in a position where your rankings are affected and that you're not blacklisted, and that red screen of fear goes away very quickly. It doesn't go away immediately. They still have to clear out of the block list, but we can resolve it very quickly. So if you're looking for that, just get in touch, and more than happy to help. So my name is Nick Cree, and I am from SmashGo, and we build websites, we look after websites, help people with their digital strategies and their online business, and of course, make sure that it's safe and happy online for you.